But Socrates, even with your clocks and your lines, you are simply taking the old religious claims and dressing them in the language of mechanics. It is still a faith claim, just reimagined for a technical age. You believe the writer holds the ends. Another believes he does not. It is the same old internal struggle.
A fair challenge, but let us look at the nature of this faith. If a man has faith that a wall is not there, and he walks forward, what happens when he reaches the coordinate where the stone sits?
He hits the wall. His faith is irrelevant to the structural reality of the stone.
Correct, because the stone has a structural integrity that does not ask for his permission to exist. Now tell me, in the faith you describe, if 1,000 men believe the Christ claim is true and 1,000 men believe it is false, is there any mechanism in their belief that can physically prevent the other side from speaking or seeing?
No, it is all subjective. They simply shout over one another. Neither can take the sight of the other.
Then we have our first distinction. You say the line is faith, but the line claims a mechanic of give and take sight. Let us test its engine. If the line is a clock with a specific arrival tick, let's call it blue 1, and that arrival is dictated by the tree of life axiom, if it takes, it gives, if it gives, it takes, does that mechanic depend on the observer's opinion?
You say it doesn't, but the interpretation of the text does.
Let us go deeper. If I show you a gear that only turns clockwise, is it a leap of interpretation to say it cannot turn counterclockwise?
No, that is the nature of the gear.
Then look at the bruise head versus bruise heel dilemma. The line suggests that if the bruise occurs at the start, the problem, and the writer arrives at the end to shut the door, the solution, the 2 points are mathematically locked. If the writer arrives at the arrival tick, he holds the net-taking power. By the laws of the engine, the rival cannot arrive at that same point. He is structurally shut out. Now, here is the question for you. Can faith do that? Can a reimagined faith claim create a condition where a rival cannot physically occupy the same logical space?
Faith cannot, but I still say you are just interpreting the arrival tick to suit your story.
You miss the engine again. If I tell you that if A is true, B must be true, and we find B is true, we haven't made a leap, we have followed a track. The line provides the track. If the give and take sight is verifiable, meaning if the structure actually blinds the rival by occupying the only valid arrival point, then we are no longer in the realm of belief, we are in the realm of occupancy. If the writer occupies the coordinate, the Superman cannot. This isn't a faith-based preference, it is a structural exclusion. If you say the writer is just a faith claim, you must explain why the engine's brake conditions haven't been met. If the line holds the weight of the beginning and the end, it isn't a reimagined faith, it is a discovered architecture.
So you are saying that because faith cannot take sight, but the line can, they cannot be the same thing.
Precisely. One is a state of mind, the other is a state of the timeline. If the line works as an engine, it removes the massive leap because the engine does the work. You don't leap to the conclusion that a clock will strike 12. You wait for the gears to reach the tick. To call it faith is to admit you haven't looked at the gears. You are still arguing about the color of the clock face while ignoring the fact that the hands are moving toward a verifiable strike.